Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the BGF podcast. I'm your host, Gianluca, alongside of
Brandon.
And today, guys, we decided to go back to the fantasy content. We're doing a little Dynasty ranking system, but this time the tight ends. The only thing we haven't covered, so we're going to give that to you guys.
Last
Last position group. We're also expecting to drop the rookie tier list coming up. Should be in the following week or two. Also, just a little admin stuff for you guys. We're going to be going away for a few weeks. Myself and Brandon, we're going to Europe, actually. We're going to be spending 3 weeks there. But don't you worry, we got pre-recorded videos coming out. So we got the rookie rankings. The tight end rankings is going to be coming out live while we're in Europe. And we're also going to bring you a draft. I think that should already be up by now. But if it's not, it'll be out. And hope you guys enjoy the content. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and follow us on our socials. Let's get into it. All right.
Again, different rankings. We don't have the same tier list, so it makes it interesting. A little bit of controversy.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll start it off.
Go ahead.
In my S tier, I got two guys here. I got Sam Laporta as my tight end 1 and Trey McBride as my tight end 2 in the S tier. I think it's pretty simple. These are two of the best young tight ends in the league. Sam Laporta in his rookie season finished as a tight end 1 in fantasy, so he's automatically now the consensus number 1 guy, I think, in the Dynasty landscape at tight end. Huge numbers, over 15 points probably every week, so it was good for him. And then you had Trey McBride in the last 10 weeks of the season, second half of the year, especially when Kyler came back. You saw he was his favorite target, and he was absolutely beasting the last 10 weeks, averaging 14.6 points per game. So that was a big second half of the year for Trey McBride. He was a guy who I liked when he got drafted, but year 1 he didn't really do much of anything. So he was behind Zach Ertz, so I kind of thought he was just not going to pan out. So
yeah,
it was nice to see him pan out in his second year, and here on out he should be one of the better tight ends in the NFL. So that's my S tier. How about you?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna agree with you there. I got Laporta as my tight end 1 going into next season in Dynasty. Trey McBride, you touched up on him, but I'm also gonna add Mr. Brock Bowers to this list. I think this kid's going to be an absolute freak. We saw his production in college, and a lot of people are comparing him to Kyle Pitts, right? And I understand the comparison, I really do. But the main difference I want to take from these two guys is the yards after the catch, right? Brock Bowers is more damaging after the catch than Kyle Pitts ever was. Not that Kyle Pitts is bad after the catch, he is, and he's a really, really good tight end. It's just you need an accurate thrower for Kyle Pitts, whereas with Brock Bowers, you just need to give him the football anywhere, and he'll work some magic. He has that Travis Kelce build to him, and I really, really love this prospect. Obviously, he's going to Vegas. Vegas doesn't have much talented quarterback right now, but he's going to be a very reliable option. Don't be afraid to draft this kid. He's going to be an absolute phenom in the coming seasons.
Yeah, I like it. Pretty similar to mine, because I also, moving on to my A tier now, I got Brock Bowers as my tight end 3 as well, but he's just in the A tier for me.
Mm-hmm.
And with Kyle Pitts as well as my tight end 4, and Dalton Kincaid as my tight end 5. The reason I got Bowers in A instead of S is just I feel like the landing spot in Vegas is a bit scary in my opinion.
I get that.
With Michael Mayer also being there and them having a lot of good pass catchers and not having the quarterback that could really give production to every single guy. And I really like the talent. If he had landed in a spot like New York or the Jets, I would have had him in this S tier. It's just I want to see him just do it. I have no doubts that he can produce. It's just I just want to see it just to make sure. But I still have him as my tight end 3, and being conservative, having him in A. I like the potential, like I said, and I think he could have a pretty nice year and could be a nice asset. Even if he doesn't do that great this year, I feel like his value will always stay pretty
high.
He can maintain value just because at the time he was like a guy like Kyle Pitts, who I do have now as my tight end 4. We're waiting now. This is the year. We've been on Kyle Pitts, both of us, since he's been drafted, and I'd hope that with Kirk Cousins and with Tom Robinson as the OC now there in
this is the time now.
Atlanta, this should be the time where it finally pans out for Kyle Pitts. I'm expecting him to be utilized well in this offense with Kirk Cousins feeding the ball, and we saw the shenanigans with them and with the number and give me some targets and I'll give you the number and all that. So I expect Kirk Cousins to feed him, and we should be getting the prospect that we were promised when he was drafted high in was he the 5th overall pick?
Fourth, I think. Top four.
That's crazy. 4th on tight end.
It's insane. It's an insane. But he was a unicorn at the time of the draft.
He still is. Just hasn't been utilized properly so far. And then my tight end 5, Dalton Kincaid. I feel like Kincaid and Pitts are pretty interchangeable in my opinion. I could see an argument for both of them. Kincaid, now that the wide receiver room in Buffalo is pretty wide open, now Keon Coleman should be the guy there. Him, Shakir, not much options there. I'd imagine Kincaid's going to be the go-to guy for Allen. The only thing in his rookie season, Kincaid, he had weeks where he looked like, wow, this is a future great tight end, and then he had weeks where he didn't really do much.
Mm-hmm.
Just that the second half of the year, that Buffalo offense was just weird.
Yeah.
There was a lot of James Cook, and the pass catchers couldn't really do much. I expect this year that they're going to find a balance. It was the first year with Brady, so I'd imagine that they'll find a balance in the offseason, and Kincaid should be a big-time producer this year, and I don't hate having him 3rd or 4th in the tight end rankings. I feel like these guys in the 8th tier are all very similar, and that's why I have them ranked here, so that's my top 5.
No, I don't hate that. Don't hate that. Moving on to mine, a little bit of controversy here. Tight end 4 for me is Travis Kelce.
I don't hate him.
I mean, he signed that 2-year extension, right? So we got him for at least another 2 years, and the chemistry with Mahomes is just ridiculous. They're interchangeable, honestly. You won't have the same level of play without Kelce, and then same can be said for Mahomes. I truly believe that Kelce is a beast, and he will be fed for the next 2 years. Doesn't matter. He's just open. Like he just finds the ball gets to him, and he's gonna have seasons where he pushes 1,000 yards or is close to 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. So that's pretty good. You got him for 2 more years. I wouldn't be surprised if he signs another extension after that, but we'll see how he looks like after these 2 years. Moving on, tight end 5 for me is George Kittle. I mean, you gotta respect the guy. Yeah, he's a great blocker. He's a great this, but when he catches the ball, Kittle's a freak. I mean, commands targets, absolutely insane in that offense that he still gets the production he does. I think last year was tight end 2 or 3.
Only tight end in the league to crack 1,000 yards.
Yeah, and I finished tight end 2 overall. I think the only one who beat him was Laporta. I'm pretty sure, at least.
I think Ingram was tight end 2. I think he might have been 3.
Okay, whatever.
Anyway.
Top 3. He was elite production. Trust me, from the guy. And he started the season off slow. I remember saying that George Kittle at the beginning of the year had a very slow start. Wasn't too happy with him. I had him in one of my leagues, and I really wasn't happy with him at the beginning of the year. But turned it around, changed it up, and then still finished with over 1,000 yards. It's absolutely insane for any tight end. That's why I have him here at the second tight end 5 on my list. Again, a bit of an older guy, but you're going to get that elite production for at least another 3-4 years from him, I believe. And I would take the chance on him. Moving on here, I got Kyle Pitts and Dalton Kincaid. Brandon talked about them both. Kyle Pitts, we absolutely love him. I will say, this is the last year I'm in on Kyle Pitts. I say that every year. But I sincerely mean it. Like, if he can't produce with Kirk Cousins at quarterback, there's no hope for the guy. I'll give him a pass. Desmond Ridder, fine. Mariota, fine. Matt Ryan, Arthur Smith. Like, it didn't make sense. Last year did not make sense. But this year, there is absolutely no excuse. If he can't produce, that means he's just not the talent we thought he was. That's totally fine. He'll just be a middling tight end, and that's it. Kincaid, have him here, tight end 7 for me. Thing I like about Kincaid, like Brandon said, he has these huge spike weeks, but he's a bit inconsistent. I want to see a bit more consistency out of him. I wouldn't be shocked if like you guys had him higher up on the list like Brandon did. Not shocked whatsoever. I do like the prospect. I do think he's going to be great, and he's one of the only weapons in that offense right now for Josh Allen. I mean, one of the more reliable ones at least. So we'll see what happens with that, and that wraps up my A tier.
Yeah, and on Kincaid, having a pass catcher attached to Josh Allen for the near future is always going to give him a little bit of a boost. So yeah, I'll move on now to my B tier. This B tier is all the older guys that are still can give you tight end 1 seasons and can still give you really nice years, but obviously are on the back end of their career, not starting off like the guys I had mentioned earlier. The first guy in this B tier, my tight end 6, is going to be Mark Andrews. He's obviously coming off that big-time injury that he got in the middle of the season. He came back in the playoffs. Wasn't the regular Mark Andrews, we obviously know, but coming in playoff times, coming off a big-time layoff, It was never going to be easy. I'd imagine he'll be able to bounce back this year, though. They didn't bring in anyone significant, a wide receiver. Obviously, they just drafted Devontae Walker, but I don't think that's really going to have much of an effect on Mark Andrews' production. Zay Flowers still going to be there, but we know what Mark Andrews can do. He's one of the best tight ends in the league the last 5 to 6 years, so I expect Mark Andrews to still be very good, and I have him here as my tight end 6. Next up, we have TJ Hawkinson as my tight end 7. He's another guy coming off an even bigger injury. Was it ACL or Achilles?
Yes, ACL.
ACL injury. We know how hard those are to come back from, but he's still only 26 years old. Very young, and if he didn't get injured, I think he would have cracked 1,000 yards like Kittle did. He was having a really, really nice year, TJ Hawkinson, so it was unfortunate with the injury. I still believe in the talent. Just we'll see how he looks post-injury. I don't have him too high. I don't think tight end 7 is too high. Plus, he's still got age on his side, so he's my tight end 7. Then next up, we talked about earlier, Travis Kelce. I got him as my tight end 8. We know what it is with Travis Kelce. Like he said, he re-upped for 2 more years, and no matter what, you're gonna have Travis Kelce. You'd expect at least 10 plus points every week. Like he's always gonna be Mahomes' #1 target. I don't care if they bring in Worthy, Marquise Brown. These guys aren't Travis Kelce. We saw it in the playoffs last year. He reminded us who he really is, and obviously wasn't his best year last year. I don't know what he finished. Maybe if he finished in the top 5 of tight ends. You're gonna get still consistent value out of Kelce, and it would not surprise me if he finishes as a tight end 1 and comes back to his 15, 20 plus points every week. And it's a tight end advantage that he always has every year. Next up, George Kittle. Only tight end to crack 1,000 yards last year. Still one of the best in the game. One of the best blockers in the league, which obviously doesn't do anything for fantasy, but he's still a great tight end. And you know what you're getting with George Kittle. The only thing with George Kittle that does annoy me in fantasy is he does have games with. It's just a product of the Niners offense where he just doesn't get the ball and he'll put up stinker weeks. But also, that does give him a positive that he'll have big spike weeks where he puts up 30 points in a week. So, you know what you're getting with George Kittle. It's really boom or bust, but still one of the best in the game. And then finally in this tier, Evan Ingram, who finished tight end 2 last year. A guy who I feel like doesn't get enough credit. Still kind of underrated. He is 29 or 30. I think he's 29 years old right now. So he is on the back end of his career, probably has 2-3 years left of good production, but still has Trevor Lawrence. And Jacksonville did add a few guys in that wide receiver room, so maybe that does take away a bit of production from Evan Ingram, but I'd still expect Evan Ingram to be productive in fantasy, and all these guys could potentially challenge for tight end 1 season, so I got these guys in my B tier. What do you got?
Yeah, so my B tier is a little bit shorter than yours. I only got 2 guys in here. Building off of what Kelce Kittle type of mold here, I got TJ Hawkinson leading the charge, tight end B. Obviously, going to miss close to half the season next year. It's really unfortunate, but he's recovering from that injury. It's not his fault. It happens. But like Brandon said, when he was healthy, he was elite. He was producing. And I think with a young quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, eventually when he does take over, he's going to lean on the tight end, especially the short route game. And Hawkinson is going to flourish in that offense with McCarthy. And, he signed for another 3 years, so don't see him going anywhere. I don't see his value dipping. Any piece in that Vikings offense is lethal. You just grab them, and yeah. Then Mark Andrews, like we said earlier, didn't really look the same coming back from the injury, but now has a full offseason to recover and rest it. I think he will be back healthy and strong. He is Lamar's favorite target, with or without Zay Flower, whatever. Mark Andrews is Lamar's guy. We've seen it over the years. They've grown this sort of chemistry together. Touchdown machine. Just an absolute beast at tight end. Hopefully he can stay healthy. That's why I have him a little bit lower. Just that injury concern is scaring me because he has been injured now a few times. And that wraps up my B tier.
I'll move on to my C tier now. I got 2 guys in this tier, David Njoku and Jake Ferguson. These guys are guys you can get later in your draft that will still give you pretty nice production, just not at the level of like a Hawkinson, Kelce, or Andrews. David Njoku, one of my favorite tight ends. He had a very nice year last year, especially when Joe Flacco came in. I'm just going to pull up his numbers quick. Second half of the year, it felt like he was like a fantasy MVP, to be honest. He was looking really good. And you could see to close out the year from week 14 to 18, 27, 26, 16, 17, and they didn't play in Week 18. But huge numbers. He was looking really good last year, and I think David he's one of my favorite guys to just draft in these, like especially in redraft. I know we're talking Dynasty, but in redraft leagues, I never really like to go tight end too early, and I always end up with like a Njoku or a Jake Ferguson one. Evan Ingram. These are the type of guys I always end up with. So I like David Njoku a lot in that Cleveland offense. They obviously brought in Jerry Jeudy, but I don't think that's going to affect Njoku's production too much. And we'll see now Deshaun Watson. We'll see what he looks like this year. But I don't know. I feel like the tight end production is usually pretty safe no matter who's the quarterback, honestly. Next up, Jake Ferguson, who emerged last year as a starting tight end in Dallas. Looked really good. Was one of Dak's favorite targets. And he's just another guy who is pretty consistent. You're always going to get at least 10 plus points out of Jake Ferguson, and if you can get a touchdown out of him, it's just a bonus. And I like Jake Ferguson in Dallas, and I expect another solid year from him. And he's my final tight end, my tight end 12.
Yeah, don't hate that whatsoever. Moving on to my C tier, Evan Ingram leading the charge. He's my tight end 10, just cracking the top 10 for me, and
I'm surprised. You're usually super high on him.
I am really high on Evan Ingram, but in Dynasty, his age is a bit of a factor. But look, honest to God, I would not be surprised if anyone has him in that A tier. I do think he's an absolute insane talented tight end. And ever since he went over to Jacksonville, just sort of rejuvenated his career in the best way possible for him, really. And he's looked freaking great. Trevor Lawrence loves him. And I expect the same sort of output from him this season, barring any injuries. Yes, Jacksonville added some weapons in that offense, but you got a consistent guy here in Evan Ingram who you know what you can get in him. I think Lawrence is going to lean on that and really just hit him and feed him, and Ingram's going to eat and be a really consistent tight end once again. In redrafts, though, I have him really, really high. Yeah. Tight end 11 here, Jake Ferguson. Brandon touched up on him. One of Dak's favorite targets. He's going to get you those 10 points a week. Add a touchdown. It's a great week. Tight end 12 here, I was really going back and forth in my head, but I ended up going Cole Kmet.
No Njoku.
Cole Kmet, I think.
That's crazy in my opinion. No David Njoku.
I get the Njoku hype. I really do. I think he is good. It's just, I think you get a rookie quarterback in. Caleb Williams come in. He's going to lean on that short route, that short game, and Cole Kmet's the guy there in Chicago, and I do think he's going to have a great year and build that chemistry with Caleb Williams. Obviously, it's going to take him a little bit of time to adjust to the game. We'll see how fast he does adjust to the game, and Cole Kmet's going to be a reliable option in the short route running, medium route running game, and I think he's going to absolutely feed him and have an insane season this year. Wouldn't be surprised if Cole Kmet ends up tight end 5 or higher by the end of next season. And that wraps up my tight end tier list. That's my 12th guy. You have anything else you want to add to it?
No, these are. The only thing with Kmet though is like, the guys have Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze. It's like.
Yes, but I mean, DJ Moore is the deep guy, right? Keenan Allen is the medium, the slant king, whatever you want to call him.
Is a contested catch guy.
Yeah, and Odunze is a contested catch guy. You're gonna have Cole Kmet wide open.
Yeah, I could see a path because he was obviously great with Fields, so I could see a path where he does have really nice numbers. It's possible.
Yeah. Plus, I mean,
better than Chig.
I mean, he was on this list for me, and I was just like, not this year. Yeah. Maybe next year I'll make a case for him, but I love Chig. I do think he's good, but I couldn't fit him in my top 12, unfortunately. Yeah. And I think that's pretty much it from us. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow us on our socials. We're now on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and I think that's it. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the bell for all future videos, and we will see you in the next one.
See ya.